Hello, today we will be talking about Barry Windsor Smith. Way before I discovered Barry Windsor Smith in comic books, I found his art in this book. I have shown this book before, and when I bought this book, I was exposed to Jeffrey Jones, Michael Kaluta, Barry Smith, as well as Bernie Wrightson. So it was one of those rare find in an used bookstore that I love. I had this book for many years, and I have flipped through this so many times. But I remember the one artist that jumped out at me the most out of the four was Barry Smith. I just thought his work was just phenomenal. Let's see if you can flip through his page. Here we go. I remember flipping through this section the first time, and I was just amazed at the level of details that Barry Smith was able to put on a page. And right away I recognized the subtlety of his style. One thing about Barry Smith that is extremely recognizable is the way he draws noses. He has an unmistakable way that he draws the noses that's very pointy, almost larger than what they should be, but he draw them the way he, I guess, love to draw them, and I think that stand out in many of his drawing. You can always look at a face that Barry Smith does and recognize the nose right away. This is a beautiful drawing of course, Conan. There are a chock full of fantastic images in this book. As you can see right here, this is beautiful. These drawings, I believe, were produced in prints that I think they were like black and white, if I remember. I've seen them in auctions before where you can buy a set of beautiful prints in black and white, this drawing. But Barry Smith is one of those guys that when he inks his own work, it's very easy to see. He have his own unique style of inking, and how he used the lines is extremely unique. Nobody else does it that way, and as with most artists, I think for those that are familiar with his work, you will agree that Barry Smith is his own best inker. Beautiful. This is just an absolutely stunning double page spread drawing. I absolutely love it. Just look at that. I just love the way he draws the black lines. So intricate. This face right here remind me of John Byrne. It's one of the few times where I would say, if you just show me a picture like that, I almost guess that's a John Byrne drawing. But it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The level amount of details in these pictures, even the plants, everything, even look at that landscape, absolutely beautiful. I mean, Barry Smith is probably his own worst enemy in that his style requires so much details that it's just almost impossible for him to draw fast. It would not, it's not induce him to do 20-page monthly comic books with the way he draws. Look at that. I can say that, Barry Smith draw very handsome Conan. And just look at that. Look at the pencil lines on that. The hair. Look at that nose, okay? Like I said, it's very distinctive of his style to draw a nose like that. And actually, this is very good. I mean, as I go through this video, you will see his earlier work, and his nose was pretty bad. It has always been extra large on people's faces, but I think over the years he improved significantly on the nose. Just look at this. There are also so many wonderful print in this book. Look at this one. Even when he draws simple pictures, there is nothing simple about the way Barry Smith drew. Look at that beautiful lines. And once again, as you can see, he's a very classical trained artist. Look at the nose on this one. Very distinctive. Look at the lips. Beautiful. I wouldn't hesitate to buy this kind of sketch from him any day of the week. His style are so unique that when you look at picture like this, you almost think that it was drawn back in the Da Vinci time. It is so classical beauty. The classic beauty of his drawing is there. The amount of details on these painting are just mind-boggling. This is one of my favorite for sure. Look at this one. Just look at how much work and details he put in the hair that get entangled with the branches. Unbelievable. Only Barry Smith can draw just a tree, a branch that can look so beautiful. You have to appreciate the level of detail he put in every single inch of the page. I love this black and white drawing. Unbelievable. Great artist doesn't need to have colors. Even the black and white can just be mesmerizing. And as it can be repetitious about the level of details he put on the page. Just absolutely beautiful. But that's it. So can you imagine when I flipped through this book the first time and saw this, I was immediately impressed by Barry Smith, and it was years later that I discovered his art in comic books. And one of the thing about Barry Smith, unfortunately I don't have a copy. I do have a copy of X-Men 53, his very first work, but it is in a slab, so we really can't enjoy it and see it. But when he first worked for Marvel, his work was not all that good. If you have a chance to flip through X-Men 53, do it, and you will understand what I'm talking about. He was very stiff. His art was very stiff. It was a clone of Kirby, and it was not that good of a clone of Kirby. And his body composition, layout was all, I believe, not that good. In fact, I really think it was bad. And even if you look at his early work with Conan, you will see here's my beautiful copy of Conan #1, 1970. Definitely one of those books that consider the start of the Bronze Age. Beautiful copy. Not much is wrong with it, that's for sure. And compared to X-Men 53, the art of this book is significantly better, but it's still far below what his style become. Take a look at this beautiful white page. But as you can see, this is he does his own inking, and it's not bad. Barry Smith draws. He definitely does not draw muscle. Okay, he's not one of those artists that he Neil Adams draw very lean superheroes, but Barry Smith took it to another level of leanness. I'm not sure if that's the right word to use, but you can see Conan has never been this lean ever, and if you look at the drawing of this book, it's not bad, okay, but as you can see, look at that, look at the body composition and the muscle. That's almost Kirby-ish right here in the way he draw the arm, but look at the legs, very little muscle definition. His style is very clean, always has been clean from the start, but if you look through this book, certainly it was okay, but definitely not something that would jump out at me. If I was buying this off the stand, I probably think it's okay. I don't think I would be walking around saying, wow, Barry Smith is awesome. It's far from it. He's still very green at this stage of his career. So look at that. Like I said, Conan is very lean. See, that's, like I said, if you look at this book, that there are still strong influences of Jack Kirby, but the way Barry Smith draw the human muscle, it just didn't look very good. Look at this leg. Just look at all the legs and arm. It was just not very good. There are some flashes of brilliances as you flip through the early issues of Conan, but Barry Smith at this stage of his career is still pretty much a work in progress, okay? He's still trying to find his own footing, his own style. Like I said, the book is not bad. I have flipped through this book many times. I think the art was decent. I just find that there's a lot of ways that he could have improved, and he will improve with the way he draw the body. Okay. But one thing that you notice is the way he draw the noses. Look at that. Look at how he draw the big long nose and the lips. Okay, the way he draw the mouth and the lips and the nose. Certainly, this cannot be considered good. Okay, it's very stiff, proportionally not all that great, but that is very early telltales of Barry Smith. Okay, very you see that composition many times in many books. So there you go. That's my Conan 1. And if you flip through most of the early Conan book, you find very little improvement over the years. Here's a nice copy of number 3. I do not have Conan 2. As crazy as it is, I have basically Conan 1 through 8, as you can see there, but missing issue number 2. I don't know what happened to my number 2. Once again, you can see the body composition, the lack of muscle tone on Conan, the leanness of Conan. Here, once again, as you can see, this time Sao Buscema was helping out. I'm not sure how much he was helping, but look at the way the faces are. Barry Smith draw very narrow faces, and that has been his trademark in his early days. And then of course, as you can see, the long noses, as you can see. As you go through this issue number 3 here, I see very little improvement compared to issue number 1. And if you go through issue 7, 8, much can be said the same. His style was still very crude at this stage of his career. Certainly it was nice to see how he evolved over time, but for sure the early issue of Conan was really missing a lot of finesse. Just look at that. See, I don't think that was that good as far as the face and the mouth. And then, every time I see Conan, I just think that he's just way too skinny. Look at that. Look at the body composition. It's just not all that good. I think the fan of Barry Smith in his later years, if they look at what he's done in his early days, they will be surprised at how much he has changed over the years compared to somebody like, say, John Byrne or Neil Adams, that hit their mark pretty early, pretty quickly. You don't see, Barry Smith was still very raw at this stage of his career. Okay, so that's number 3. They are beautiful books, but the art, Barry Smith at this stage of his career certainly has not impressed me that much. Now I pull out this book because it has now that you look at the Conan that he drew later compared to what, look at the muscle tone on this Conan. That's beautiful. Okay, that's the Conan that most of us would love to see. Look at this beautiful picture. Absolutely gorgeous. From the early 70s through the late 70s, that's where I think Barry Windsor Smith make big stride. Even if you look at the Conan, inside this treasury, of course, is a reprint of a lot of his work. And once again, you can see his early days where look at the face on Conan, the nose, the face, the narrowness of the face. Just look at that. It's just not very good. Look at that disproportion nose and lips. If you flip through this treasury, what you do notice is a slight improvement. Here is a reprint of one of the later issue, and you can see, look at how much he has changed. Okay, so by issue in the late teens issue of Conan, early 20 issues, look at that. That's significantly different. Okay, significantly, at least in the upper body. And by the time he hit the issue 24, look at this. Issue 24 is, of course, the famous Red Sonja issue. Look at that body composition, and just look at the way he inked Conan and the art. It is substantially better than what you saw in the first 10 or 15 issues. Look at that. Conan is still very pretty, very handsome, but you can see the body of Conan slowly changing into a more muscular, more dynamic. It is beautifully drawn. Like I said, the last few issues of Conan that he did was very nice. I mean, I was very happy to see the transformation of Barry Smith at this stage of his career. Very, very different. Significantly different from what you see in issue 1 and 2 or 3 or 4. That's it. This book give you a glimpse of what he is to become. Just look at that. Okay, finally you see some muscle on the legs of Conan. But as you can see, look at the face. There are still some work to be done there. That's it. It's a beautiful drawing. It's neat to see the transformation of Barry Smith over the 2-year span between issue 1 and 24. I will be back with part 2, where I think you will see the later work of Barry Smith and what really is fantastic. Thanks for watching.